Men have viewed with suspicion the fact that Sir Edward Carson is a South of Ireland man. That is so. I am indeed a South of Ireland man. But I have spent my whole life in resisting Home Rule, not merely in Ulster, but in Ireland as a whole. Now, some members of our party have said that the ideal...
Edward Carson, born 1854 in Dublin, died as Lord Carson of Duncairn in 1935 near Ramsgate, barrister, politician, Crown Prosecutor in Ireland, Solicitor General, leader of the Tory party, First Lord of the Admiralty, Lord of Appeal, and architect of Northern Ireland.
My own view is that the whole of Ulster should be excluded, but the minimum would be the 6 plantation counties, and for that, a good case could be made. I believe, however, that the Irish Nationalist Party will not consider the question of excluding Ulster, and since they, as a party, have 83 representatives in Westminster, this indeed puts them in a strong position. But we will fight it out with them. God, give us men. Men whom the lusts of office do not kill. Men whom the spoils of office do not buy. Men who possess opinions and a will. Men who love honor. Men who cannot lie. A time like this demands great hearts, strong minds, true faith, and willing hands. And we will fight it out to the bitter end.
We have sworn in our ringo, for their county's famous grove. On our drums they will rattle like the thunder, for we'll never be the two of the Pope or of the Rule. We're the brave orange heroes of Concord. We'll buy a penny rope and we'll hang the bloody Pope, while our drums they will rattle like the thunder, and we'll make his papers feel the strength of orange steel. We're the brave orange heroes of Concord. No surrender is our post, while there's still a pig to roast. No surrender, our drums cry out like thunder. No surrender is our cry, no surrender will we die. We're the brave orange heroes of Concord.
Being convinced in our consciences, said Sir Edward, that Home Rule would be disastrous to the material well-being of Ulster as well as to the whole of Ireland.
There was a brave shout from the crowd when he said that.
Subversive of our religious freedom.
Now, what be Jesus?
Would you stop your interrupting Sir Edward's speechifying down beg?
Destructive of our citizenship and perilous to the unity of the Empire.
When he said that, a slap no land degree on the shoulder and a damn near left him a hunchback.
I saw you.
We whose names are underwritten, men of Ulster, loyal subjects of His Gracious Majesty King George V, humbly relying on the God... Oh, sorry, lads, it's just too funny. Jesus Christ, this fella Carson should be on the music hall.
What the hell do you mean, funny? There's nothing funny about a man losing his empire and his religion as well.
You go too far, Willie Henderson, too far.
Now, look what you've made me do.
Oh, you should have it up by half an hour.
We do hereby pledge ourselves.
That bit's all tore.
To use all the means necessary to defeat the present conspiracy to set up a Home Rule Parliament in Ireland.
God save the king.
Just you carry on with a painting there, Archie Hearn. That's what you're getting paid for.
Well, I'd rather paint it than carry it.
It's the red flag you'd want us to carry.
Ah, no, Tom. I'm not a great one for flags. I leave that for boys. It's intelligent men I want.
Oh, is it the huge crowds that assemble to hear you at your factory gate meetings you're talking about?
Well, true enough. My gate meetings will hardly be addressed by the leaders of the Liberal Party or of the Tory Party. And that's a proud boast.
But if you're not a Tory nor a Liberal, Archie, You must have no politics at all.
I'm a Christian, Tom. A plain old Christian.
You see, I could see a man being a Protestant. I can even understand a bit of Papish. But you're nothing. You're neither fish flesh nor good red herring.
Oh, but I am. Good red herring. Archie Herring's an orange pun, you might say.
My visit to Belfast was very encouraging, as I've had a considerable promise of funds which are very requisite. I met many of the merchants and big men, and they are all inclined to be very generous, which shows me more than anything else that they're in earnest.
Sir Atwood, one by one, you in the middle must follow by the drum. The drum shall play and the whistle shall blow. Sir Atwood says, you must go.
I don't want to be the body anymore. I played the pub yesterday. Now I want to be Mr. Carson.
You're too small even to play Mister. Sir Edward is a big, tall man.
Sir Atwood, 2 by 2. You at the start must turn and follow through. The drum shall play and the whistle shall blow. Sir Atwood says, you must go.
They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent. Others' poison is under their lips. David, Psalm 140.
Or Carson describing the Liberals, Asquith and Churchill.
I don't think even Saul was as bad as them, and God knows he was a right villain.
The people think of Carson as David.
The rich, maybe. But you might as well ask the men of Sandy Road to mistake King William for the Pope of Rome. Just tell them that an elderly Dublin lawyer playing at politics is their David.
There's plenty listen when he talks.
Oh, yes. He's come a long way from his early days in Dublin, defending Fenians.
Maybe the man has changed, William.
The oldest saying of all in law, dear, is to beware of a Dublin lawyer. Now, what on earth can Sir Edward Carson, Mr. F.E. Smith, and Mr. Andrew Bonner Law, 3 good Tories, want to do with Ulster, do you think?
Are they Protestant?
Bonner Law was the son of a poverty-stricken Canadian clergyman, and you know how poor church mice are. And Sir Edward Carson's father is the son of an Italian hat maker, Carsoni.
The Italian bit is rather ominous.
I may be a conservative, Mary, but I don't intend to allow those fellas to play a game of political soccer, using the decent Protestants of Ulster as the football.
Loyalty is a strange thing. It is not something you get by merely sitting round a table and trying to find a formula for an oath of allegiance which means nothing. It is something born and bred in you. I have often, I admit it, when we were threatened because we were loyal in Ulster, and for no crime except that we were loyal, said to myself, well, why don't you give it up? And I never did, because I know I could not. Because I know it is something that is born in you, inherited in you. And that is the safety of the state. We in Ulster will be loyal to the Empire. Let the Empire be loyal to us.
Right, lads, come round in a minute. I'll let Mama Blackleaf get past you this day.
Stop this at once, Brannigan. Let you all go home to your wives and children.
We can't do that, Father.
You don't say the word can't to a priest.
I just did, Father. May God forgive me.
Think of what you're saying, Brannigan.
We've been locked out by the Protestants ever since Carson brought out his covenant, Father.
Now, what's that supposed to mean? Look, come on, get home, the lot of you. There's no place for you to be. You should be at home with your wives.
You never came down to see us before, Father, or the bishop either.
The bishop and I, we've been busy.
Well, it's more than we've been, Father. That's why our families have had neither bite nor sup in months.
Have you forgotten the power of prayer?
It's very hard to keep your mind on someone you can't see, Father, when you've got a belly that's empty.
Right. Look, I'll pray, Brannigan, that God Almighty may stick you to the ground where you stand.
Oh, God, Father. If he only sticks with Edward Carson to the ground, save us all the bloody trouble.
Mr. Heron. I might have known that an atheistic Protestant like yourself would have something to do with this.
Oh, no, an atheist is a man with no invisible means of support, Father. It's quite wrong of you to give him one. Tom,
if you talk with this man, Brannigan, don't come looking for any more help from the church.
God, Father, the only help the working man ever got from the Catholic Church
Hey,
was when
Get back the way of the Lord!
The men in there are not blacklegs, and you're not going to solve anything by starting sectarian strife.
Now, look, Archie, you're the head of the works committee of the union. Whose side are you on?
Oh, well, now, that's a silly question to ask me. What I am telling you is that you can't equate being a Protestant with being a blackleg.
Look, isn't a fella a blackleg who does his mate's job when his mate's been victimised?
Oh, well, yes, Tom.
We victimised because we're Catholics and we're thrown out of the works.
Ah, yes, Tom, but in this
and
case...
the men are doing our job.
Are workers. They're misguided workers, Tom.
They're bloody blacklegs. But if we don't work, nobody works. Come on now.
We have blood to spill and the Popish horse to kill. With their hands to tear our enemies asunder. There's not a man will clash with the lads that wear the sash. With the brave orange heroes of Concord. With of our fathers living still, in spite of dungeon, fire and sword. Oh, how our hearts beat high with joy whene'er we hear that glorious word. Faith of our fathers, holy faith, we will be true to thee till death. We will be true to thee till death.
Ah, and there's no doubt about it. They were led by their priest.
Our fellas never stood a chance. The priest did work the papishes up to such a pitch that when we were coming out of our work peaceful, they led into us without warning. Not so shite.
Well, here, I tell you, bloody cowardly sort was sure. Didn't poor Tom Peterson get his whole head gashed in? The blood was going.
Hey, we've no license for entertainment in this pub. Drink seriously or go somewhere else.
Oh, wee Tony Peterson that never done no harm to nobody.
Tom Peterson was his name.
Well, Tom or Tony didn't batter him down without warning.
Well, here, by Christ, they'll get jippo from us when the pubs is shut tonight.
Where are you for then?
Where do you think? For the Popish chapel, of course. If that bastard of a priest thinks he can start trouble, we'll show him the men of Sandy Row have they finished.
Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hey. Don't follow away, it's a pip. He stood listening to everything. I bet you Shilney's dashing off to the Falls Road to tell the Fenians about our plans.
Come on, here. Hold on there. There'll be plenty along with us tonight, and the Fenians will need all the help they can muster.
I suppose you're right, Tom. It's serious work we've got before us. It'd be buck stupid to waste good drinking time.
Two wee ones there.
You want a pint? You know, I never spoke to a priest before like that in all my life. Now, for a minute, he might as well have been wearing a collar and tie around his neck. Still that bloody white band.
Well, it wouldn't have been me, Brannigan. I'd have been terrified to put horns on me. The daytime could look after itself. But them fellas, they rule the long nights.
Ah, him and Pegger are two right sailmates. Raising blue murder from the pulpit. Them and have us all to each other's throats and just leave us where Jesus left the Jews.
Hey, hold on there. It's not closing time yet.
I just come from the Herd and Hounds.
Oh, for God's sake, don't bring religion into the conversation.
Does it make you think God save the king, then?
It seems that the whole Orange Lodge is there.
Well, it would be, wouldn't they? Doesn't the Grand Master himself own it? And the brothel and the shankle.
They're blaming Father Donahue for the row today.
Oh, God help their sense, then.
They're going to burn the chapel tonight.
Oh, Jesus. I'll send them along a box of matches.
The submission on. The place will be full of women and kids.
Oh, Christ. Wouldn't that bloody priest could be there by himself? Come on, then. Better go and look after the women. You women! Can I rattle your bins? Not enough to waken the dead. Gonna need a lot of help tonight.
Into the night, tiddy-foley. If you come fight, tiddy-foley. Make a din, rattle your bins, tiddy-foley, tiddy-foley. Rattle your bins, tiddy-foley. rattle your bends, tiddy folly. Come out and rattle your bends, tiddy folly, tiddy folly. Strangers appear, tiddy folly. Strangers to fear, tiddy folly. Make people hear, danger is near, tiddy folly, tiddy folly. Rattle your bends, tiddy folly. Rattle your bends, tiddy folly. Come out and rattle your bends, tiddy folly, tiddy folly.
And in his statement, Connolly says, the Socialist Party of Ireland seeks to organise the workers of this country, irrespective of creed or race, into one great party of labour. It believes that the dependence of the working class upon the owners of capitalist property and the desire of these capitalists and landowners to keep the vast mass of the people so subject and dependent is the great and abiding cause of all our modern social and political evils. Recognising this, it counsels the Irish working class to follow the example of the workers of every civilised country in the world, whether subject or free, and organise itself industrially and politically, with the end in view of gaining control and mastery of the entire resources of the country.
He's absolutely right, you know.
Hey, Archie, I've just realised I'm a socialist. Huh? I've been a bloody red for weeks now, and you know, nobody struck me dead yet.
You're an entire man, Tom. You're an entire man entirely.
Could I have some more sugar on, Sarah? I fancy something sweet.
You'll be ruining your teeth, pet. Still, they're your own teeth. Oh, you're in, are you?
No, I'm away up the road with a ball.
Who you afraid to fight that you're taking it out on me, Tom Cordy?
Now listen, you. I don't want you running around with that fella, that Antichrist Archie Hearn. Even the bloody papishes hate him.
That should be a recommendation for him in your book. What's up with them now, then?
He stopped the yards coming out the day to the Reverend Pigot's mass protesting and Home Rule. Him and his bloody conveners.
He's only trying to stop workers beating each other up. Is that so wrong now?
Now, look, when you're as old as I am, young fella, you'll know that a fella doesn't do that unless he has something else up his sleeve.
What, for instance?
Nothing. Oh, is that another book you're reading?
The Quintessence of Ibsenism by George Bernard Shaw.
That doesn't sound very exciting. That must be about the fourth book you've read this month.
It's the second this week, Uncle Tom.
And do you think that's good for you? You'll be running your brains into mincemeat.
Don't you ever feel like reading?
Me? Oh, I've read a book.
It's the Bible he's talking about, Willie.
Now listen, my good woman, I've read other books than the good book.
Not since you've been married to me, Tom Curley.
I've read Robinson Crusoe and East Lynne. East Lynne. Ah, that puts me in mind of wee Jono. You know that place where wee Willie dies?
Aye, I saw it on the stage.
I saw it in real life with wee Jono. His father and my father were school chums. Did you know that?
I think you told me that, Aunt.
My father and wee Jono went up to Derry one 12th of July in the year, let me see,
1902.
Aye, 1902. And the father had this great concrete block, and he had it on the walls beside the diamond. And he was going to tip it over on some passing Fenians. What do you think happened?
Wee John went off on his own and the concrete block fell on top of him.
Ah, well, it's as well you know the story. But that story shows you the power of the good book on prayer.
Wee Johnno's daddy sat up all night praying that his son, whom the doctors had given up all hope for, might be saved.
And God, in his infinite mercy, spared the boy to grow up as he is today, a fine, healthy, raving lunatic.
Now, Willie Henderson, you're going a bit too far.
You know, if I had a God as good as you say your God is, I wouldn't treat him as badly as you and your friends.
You want what, Brannigan?
We're looking for the loan of the church hall, Father.
Who wants the loan of the parochial hall?
The Gaelic League, Father.
Indeed, Brannigan. To learn Gaelic in, I suppose.
I suppose so, Father.
Father Donahue must look the right fool to you, does he, Brannigan?
I don't know what you mean, Father.
Don't I know right well that the Gaelic League is only a front for the Irish Republican Brotherhood?
Do you tell me that now, Father?
A lot of gunmen. Foolish enough to think they can fight the lawful authority of king and country with idealism and stones.
Well, they were foolish enough to try and defend your chapel when your friends of king and country tried to burn it down round your ears, Father.
That's a different thing altogether. And while we're at it, there's something else I want to talk to you about.
Well, you might as well get it all said now, Father.
Now, your wife tells me that you haven't been to Mass for over 2 months and to confession for more than 6.
I don't see the point in it, Father.
You don't see the point.
Well, you wouldn't give me absolution for my sins, so it'd be a fine waste of time.
But I've never refused absolution to anyone. Except to Republicans, of course. Do you know that membership of the Republican movement carries with it the extreme penalty of excommunication from the church?
Aye, Father, I know. I lose my job because I'm a Catholic, and I lose my religion because I lost my job.
But why should a man give up his religion because he loses his job?
It gave me time to meet people who were really interested in my situation, and they gave me books to read.
Books? No doubt you're talking about the trade union organizer, Mr. Archie Heron.
You don't like him, Father, do you? Is it because he's a Protestant, or because he's a socialist Republican?
The man's an antichrist.
Oh, well, there you and the Orange Lodge have got something in common, because they call him by the very same name.
How very sad.
Yes, Father, very sad. When a man learns to be a Republican, he won't throw stones at Protestants anymore.
I've never wanted one man to stone another.
But have you ever preached brotherly love any more than the Orange men? And I'm not talking about my poverty-stricken broad brothers.
The Catholic Church has always been on the side of amity.
I suppose by the way you say that word, Father, you mean that it's got something to do with living in peace with your fellow man.
But of course.
But all your teachings have been about how unholy it is for two people to marry each other because one of them's a prod and the other one's a pip. And the peace that you want has to be underwritten by the Pope.
Mixed marriages, Mr. Brannigan.
Don't call me Mr. Father. You don't respect me. And any respect I had for you, I lost when I realized that you valued your position more than you valued my liberty.
You'll have that button twisted after you.
Look, that tail be stewed, and you know how I hate stewed tail.
That'll be the Roman Catholic bells for devotions. She'll be here shortly.
How did you know that?
Devotions is always at 7 o'clock. Willie said they'll be here a little after that. Don't see any mystery in it.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, how did you know that was the bell for devotions?
We've been living here for the past 15 years. How would I know what time the factory horn goes out?
But we know all about factory horns.
Don't tell me you're angry because I recognise the bells of St. Dominic's.
Nah, don't be a daft bitch.
The man's going to be jealous of Roman Catholic bells. Oh, there they are now.
Thank God for that.
Eunice, this is my Aunt Sarah, my Uncle Tom.
I'm very pleased to meet you, Eunice. How are you?
You're very welcome, dear. Willie has told us a lot about you. You'll be dying for a wee cup of tea.
Oh, I'd simply adore a cup of tea,
Yes.
Mrs. Surgeon.
Willie, would you take the wee girl's handbag there? Look, put it over on that sofa there. Yes, and you come along with me, dear. And you just sit yourself over there and make yourself at home.
Thank you.
That's it.
Come, pass that along now, and the sugar too.
Well, indeed, yes.
You, Willie. You have a cup. I needn't ask you.
You like some milk? No, you needn't. Did you like a little milk, dear?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
No.
Thank you.
There you are.
Your name's Gilbraith. You know, I worked with a fella in the yard some years ago by the name of Charlie Gilbraith. Would he be any relation of yours?
Oh, well, Daddy is in the building trade.
Oh, that's a very unreliable class of work altogether. Out in all wells and up here...
Eunice's father is Charles Gilbraith, but not the one you know, Uncle. Her father's the big building contractor.
Oh, is that so? Oh, I'm very sorry, miss.
Oh, Daddy remembers very hard times. When he was a boy, of course.
Oh, of course.
Would you like a wee rock bun? I baked them myself, then.
Oh, I do love home baking, thank you.
Oh, and they're very nice too. I love one myself, sir.
Thanks.
Well, I remember when I used to go to my granny's house, she had a picture like that. King William, isn't it?
Oh, King Billy. Oh, yes. Have you not got a picture like that in your house?
Oh, no. We're Presbyterians, you see.
But so are we. But what has King Billy got to do with that?
Well, Daddy says King William was a Catholic hero.
King Billy? Where did he get a daft notion like that?
Well, he's right, of course. Didn't you know? King Billy and the Pope fought on the same side against the King of France.
What the hell are you talking about?
The Pope ordered fires to be lit in the Vatican to celebrate King Billy's victory at the Boyne.
Would you answer me a personal question, miss?
Oh, of course, Mr. Curdy.
Would you tell me where a wealthy man like your dog got crazy, daft notions like that? How do you mean they don't talk about religion?
Tom, I asked you to take that kettle off the fire before the backside's burnt out of it.
All right, woman. But women must have been born in a terrible hurry.
Well, in their class, it's considered an impertinence to talk about such things. Except philosophically, of course.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it might be of interest to a person of the Jewish faith to know how a Catholic worships and so on.
But where would they meet them?
Where would they meet whom?
Jews and papishes. Where would Protestants meet them?
Well, in their clubs, or when they play golf together, or when they visit each other's homes, or...
Well, wait a minute now. Are you going to sit there and tell me that rich people would have poverty-stricken papishes and Jew boys in their houses?
Well, of course not.
But is that what I'm trying to
They'd
say?
have rich papishes or Jew boys in their houses, or Hindus, or Buddhists, or Muslims. It's a question of class, Uncle.
Oh, there's something queer about living like that.
Look, people fight each other in the working classes not because of religion, Uncle.
Why then?
Economics. A man is jealous of another man's house, or his clothes, or his job. The rich don't recognize these problems. They have good homes, the best of clothes, and they don't do any work anyway.
And you're going to be living among people like that?
Too right I am.
Well, all I can say is, may God look down on you.
Honor the king, thy master, and all those in high places above you. Those words, my children, are not mine. They are the words of your catechism. Now, we all know who the king is. We mean, of course, His Gracious Majesty, King George V. But Are we really clear as to what is meant by our masters? We must not honour those in high places only when the going is good. If an employer has no work to give his servant, does it make the man less the master? Now, there are among you those who would have you believe that it would be right for the common people to rise up against their masters and take what is the master's by right. That is the act of the brigand, of the socialist, of the Fenian. And I admonish you to shun those people, because whether they speak in the name of rebellion or trade unionism, they are all Fenians. And I would remind you what the Bishop of Kerry, the Most Reverend Dr. Moriarty, said in this regard, that hell is not hot enough, nor eternity long enough to roast the Fenian.
I'll smile among the whole shower of bastards.
We must be prepared, in the event of a Home Rule Bill passing, with such measures as will carry on for ourselves the government of those districts of which we have control. We must be prepared, the morning Home Rule passes, ourselves to become responsible for the government of the Protestant province of Ulster. And let me warn the government that prevaricates on the Home Rule question from the far reaches of Westminster that we in Ulster are ready for any exigency. We have, in order to defend the provisional government of Ulster and to protest a Protestant parliament for a Protestant people, an army on war footing. 100,000 Ulster Protestant men, fully armed and ready to face all in defense of their birthright. I salute the Ulster Protestant Volunteers. If it is to be rebellious to be loyal to the Crown, then 100,000 soldiers of Ulster are rebels. I stand with them and am proud to be called so. I rejoice in the name rebel. In time, the whole empire will remember with gratitude this day when loyal men were brought forward to defend king and country. God bless the Ulster Volunteers. God save the king.
Just enough lead in each mold now. That's precious stuff.
Aye. All right. Look to the work, Major Crawford.
Thank you for lending us your furnace, Mr. Piggott.
Ah, man. Sure isn't it God's furnace? And who would I be to say that it shouldn't do God's work?
Well, those clergymen wouldn't hear of it then. Now, we have many that give us every facility.
So long as there's nothing in it that'll blow me church up. It's taken me a fair long while to gather the congregation I have.
It's only the lead noses for the bullets we do in the furnace. Charlie here packs the cordite and powder, and his brother Billy here pinches the casings round.
You need a sore lot of lead and furnace to make bullets for the guns of 100,000 men. I believe that's the number in Carson's army.
Near enough. Though we've no intention of making that many bullets.
No, Home Rule will be passed and gone before you'd have enough made to fire a shot each.
We'll have the arms before Home Rule gets near us.
Well, you need to hurry then. You see, the bill gets its final readings in a few weeks' time. Then it becomes law. You know, I thought Sir Edward's wealthy friends might see a way to getting some arms for you.
They're raising the money just at the moment, sir.
That shouldn't be too much trouble for them. F.E. Smith spends, or so I'm told, 1,000 a week in horse racing. When he's not at the bar of the Old Bailey, the bar of the House of Commons, or any one of any number of bars retailing alcohol.
Doing their best to raise the money, sir.
Lord Londonderry owns, or so they tell me, gold mines in the Klondike, diamond mines in South Africa, and he owns every blessed coal mine in Durham. I don't think they're short of a bob or two.
They won't let us down, sir.
Now, let us hope, Major, that Ulster is not in the hands of people who care less for the destiny of Ulster than they do about who's to be the next English government.
There will be no betrayal of Ulster, sir.
And I'm glad to hear it.
I have every reason for such faith, sir.
Your faith is monumental, Major. Monumental.
Take a look at that.
What is it?
It's a draft drawn on a London bank.
For £250,000. God, I thought only the Vatican had money like that.
I sail to London tonight, and from there to Hamburg. I'll get all the weapons the Ulster volunteers need.
And bullets.
And bullets, too, sir.
Well, thank God for that. You know, that old furnace has been going so hard all through the summer. The congregation were beginning to think it was getting them ready for the roaring flames of hell.
We are not going to fight the army and the navy. But if the army and the navy come up to displace us, they will displace us at their peril. It is not that we mean to fight them. God forbid that any loyal Irishman should ever shoot, or think of shooting, the British soldier or sailor. But believe you me, any government will ponder long before it dares to shoot a loyal Ulster Protestant, devoted to his country and loyal to his king.
It's all very well, Mrs. Gilbraith, if they don't live in your pocket. But if you had to wake up every morning and find Roman Catholics next to you, you'd maybe think differently.
And they're very dirty, you know. Some of them live 10 in a room.
Poor creatures. Is there nothing we could do for them?
Mrs. dear, you couldn't do nothing to help them ones. Give them better houses to live in, and I'll guarantee they'll turn them into pigsties in less than a week.
There was one Roman Catholic family, and they got a house with an inside toilet. And they used to wash their faces in it. They thought it was the sink.
Dear me. Poor creatures.
You see, they didn't know what to do because they hadn't to go out into the backyard for water.
Oh, right enough, the sink's a great boon. Lord Tom, do you mind when you had to wash your back under the tap in the yard?
Oh, don't I? Oh, yes. Mrs. Gilbraith, that bathroom of yours is a great improvement on the sink, and that's a fact.
I was just saying to Tom, the unbath would hold a queer lock of clothes.
Oh, she did.
Oh, you're back? You took your time?
Well, Willie, my son, we chopped our end up all right, eh? Do you think they were impressed?
Impressed? They couldn't have been more impressed if you'd vomited on their carpets.
Smaller groups, Tom. We'll have to organise into smaller groups. Carson's volunteers make great spies for the military. Jeez, there's 100,000 of them.
Aye. At the rate we're being arrested, we'll soon be able to meet in a confession box.
Ah, but that's because we got involved with local issues. We've got to put a stop to that.
Are you saying we should walk away every time somebody threatens to shoot us up?
If necessary. We've got ourselves bogged down in a sectarian struggle. We are doing Carson and the Tory party's work for them. Now let the Ancient Order of Hibernians and the Orange Order, let them carry on the gang fights if they want to.
What do we do then?
We'll fight.
Who do we fight and where?
We'll fight British imperialism, and we'll fight it from Dublin.
Ah, Archie, you're out of your mind. Sure, the British Army only have to blow on us.
No. Not if they've got so much trouble on their hands somewhere else.
Don't tell me you believe all that claptrap about Britain fighting Germany.
Connolly says that an imperialist war cannot be held off any longer.
I don't care what Commandant General Connolly says. Sure, blood's thicker than water.
What's that mean?
Isn't the king the Kaiser's first cousin?
Oh, well, I never knew that stopped kings from killing each other before now.
No, they don't get killed. They never do. The poor bastards that fight for them.
So you wouldn't fight in Dublin?
Not fight? Sure I wouldn't miss it. Didn't I help to wind up the clock?
Hello, Mr. Hearn.
What's upset you, love? Why aren't you out playing?
He can't, Tom. The other kids keep calling him names.
What names?
Socialist drawers and pig and Brannigan. And I'll carry Duffy won't let him go on the chapel holidays. He says he'd be a bad influence.
I'll twist that Duffy's neck, but Jesus, I'll give him a chance to die for his bloody saviour.
And the priest read your name out from the altar and nobody spoke to us all the way home from Mass.
That bastard, I'll kill that get.
All right.
Bastard, Jack! Me! The pal and the priest says!
But it looks worse than it is, Nelly. Look, get a rag and wipe the blood off. I'll go down and try and calm them down.
Go out! Out there, they'll kill you, Archie!
Not at all, I know most of them. I'll talk.
You are not a Roman Catholic.
God forbid, worshipful master.
You never had any truck with a papist.
As God's my judge.
No man has used undue influence to get you to join the Loyal Orange Order.
My conscience was my persuasion.
You may take the oath.
No one said I was to learn an oath, worshipful master.
I'll read the oath right through.
I think that's shocking good of you.
I do solemnly and sincerely swear, of my own free will and accord, that I will, to the utmost of my power, support and defend the present King George V and all the heirs of the crown so long as they support the Protestant ascendancy. Next.
William, it's Mr. Heron.
Oh, well, Archie, as I live and breathe.
Hiya, Bill.
I didn't really believe you'd turn up. But here, what am I doing keeping a guest? An old friend standing on the feet of himself. Sit down, man. Sit down and take your ease.
Thanks, Bill.
There you are. Oh, Mary, dear, will you pour a cup of tea for Archie? Oh, I forgot. You two haven't met. Mary, love, this is Archie Heron.
Miss Piggott?
You've often heard me talk about Archie. Well, now, that's the honours done anyway.
My husband tells me you and he were at school together.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, indeed we were.
Yes, indeed. Star boy he was enough.
Here's your tea, Mr. Heron.
Thank you, Miss Piggott. No sugar, thanks.
Sit down, Archie, sit down.
Aye.
Oh, thank you, dear.
You'll excuse me, Mr. Heron.
Oh, yes, of course, Miss Piggott.
Well, now, Archie, what can I do for you?
Stop the Orange Walk from going through the Catholic Quarter.
Well, you're right from the shoulder. No beating about the bush with Archie Heron. And what'd make you think that the walk was going through the Roman Catholic Quarter?
Now, listen to it.
Archie, you put me in a very awkward position. You see, we agreed to avoid the Roman Catholics last year. And what happened in the spring? I'm danged if the priest doesn't take his procession right through Sandy Row.
Oh, what else could he do? The Catholic cemetery's at the other side. They had to walk that way.
Oh, yes, but they shouldn't have gone on a procession. Ones and twos and walk on the pavement. And then they could have had all the processions they wanted on the other side.
Uh-huh. Well, they went in ones and twos a couple of years ago, do you remember? They were half killed.
Ah, yes. Regrettable, Archie. Highly regrettable. But you just try and tell our committee that.
You could.
Me, Archie? They wouldn't take it from Carson himself. No. They're their own men. My hands are tied completely. Why didn't you see Tom Curdy? He's the worshipful master. Now, if there's any man of the power, it'd be Tom.
Well, I've already seen him. And he tells me that there is one man would never agree to it.
Did he mention his name?
He says you wouldn't hear of it.
He said that, did he?
Uh-huh.
Ah, yes. Well, I see. Well, I'm afraid we must have had our subjects mixed. Tell you what. Let me have another talk with him. Well, maybe think of something. All right?
Fair enough.
By the way, Archie, I believe you stopped the workers from the yard from joining in my march.
I did, Bill.
Why did you do that?
Because it's a trade unionist's job to prevent sectarianism.
And you think I'd revel in it?
If it suited your purpose, Bill.
Purpose? What purpose?
You're looking for power.
Oh, Archie, you're a terrible man altogether. And God help us, it would take an awful uncivil character to take a dislike to you. There are among you men who possess firearms. Of that I have little doubt. There are among you men who are soldiers of Ulster's new volunteer force, so petulantly derided by radicals in England and Ireland as Carson's volunteers. I exhort you, carry not arms with evil intent. Carry not arms with hatred for your fellow man. Carry your arms as a sign of your belief in the protestations of your Christianity. Carry your arms in the spirit of David. And remember, like David, that vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Carry your arms with God on your mind and Jesus on your lips. And now, let us have hymn number 48. Stand up for Jesus, ye soldiers of the cross.
You surprise me, Mr. Haggard, to think now that my little pamphlet should give you such offence.
Now, you only criticise the Irish volunteers in this. Now, why is that, Father?
I'm a shepherd, Mr. Haggard. I defend my flock from violence.
Only Republican violence you think should be attacked. Is that right, Father?
The Church's attitude to unauthorized violence from whatsoever and whomsoever is very well known.
Oh, is it? Well, in that case, why didn't you rush into print whenever Carson formed his army?
But, sir, where was the need? Didn't the Prime Minister himself assure us that Sir Edward Carson would be dealt with?
And did he deal with him?
Ah, come on now, Tom. Give the Prime Minister a chance. After all, Rome wasn't built in a day, you know.
And what about the arms from Germany that Major Crawford is bringing back?
Nonsense, man. Isn't the whole of the Royal Navy waiting to trap him? And didn't the First Lord himself, Mr. Churchill, speak in this town not so very long ago in favour of Home Rule? Now, we can certainly trust Mr. Churchill.
Sir Edward Carson has sworn that Major Crawford will bring the arms from Germany in spite of Churchill's navy. Now, what have you got to say to that?
Sir Edward is a politician. It is only natural that he should talk politics. Good day to you now.
There will be the danger and difficulties of trying to run a government of our own against the constituted authority under the Home Rule Bill. I am told that it will be illegal. Of course it is illegal. Drilling is illegal. The volunteers are illegal, and the government dare not interfere with them. Let us not be afraid of illegalities.
And my fear is, brethren, that the politicians will make fools of us.
Worshipful Master! Worshipful Master!
You will excuse me, brethren. I won't keep you a minute. Brother Walker, take the chair.
Very well, Worshipful Master. Politics are all right for politicians. But, brethren, when the Carsons are finished sham-boxing each other, who clears up the mess?
We should make it clear, Mr. Piggott, that we are not criticising Sir Edward himself or his sincerity.
Didn't we swear to defend the Protestant ascendancy?
We surely did.
Didn't Carson, F.E. Smith, Bonner Law, and Max Aiken swear the same oath?
There's none will dispute that.
Then why is Carson and his friends ready to accept Home Rule for 23 counties of Ireland? The country belongs to us, man.
Half a loaf is better than no bread at all.
Half a loaf is the coward's dinner, Reverend Duff. 9 counties of Ulster they'll put us into. And on all sides, we'll be surrounded by war-painted pips. How long will we last?
We'll have to live with them sometime.
And when will Asquith's Indian agent arrive?
Indian agent?
Aye, to throw a handful of crumbs to the inhabitants of the Ulster Protestant Reservation.
I think, Reverend...
If Sir Edward Carson's plans are to go through, in a short while, The Protestants in Ireland will be as rare as a red Indian is today on the banks of the Mississippi.
I think we've spent enough time on this little matter. In order to move to the next business, I propose a vote of confidence in our leader, Sir Edward Carson.
Not in my church, you won't.
But you're surely not going to use your special position as minister here to silence a legitimate vote of confidence.
You think not? I'm to let you shut me up, while Sir Edward Carson is betraying everything that the Orange Order stands for. And you think I'll not resist? Oh, you don't know me very well, Reverend Duff.
On a point of order...
Sit down, you maggot!
Really?
Sit down, I tell you!
Brother!
Well, at least there is one man for us. Major Crawford. Yes. Major Crawford is approaching Belfast Lough at this very minute. He has secured a great deal of arms from Germany. He has successfully eluded Mr. Churchill's blockade. And is expected to tie up at Larne before nightfall.
But it is beautiful, and its colours
March the 20th. I found Belfast and the surroundings very excited. The government have been moving troops and police all day through the province and from the south. I imagine it is a scare on their part, and that they were under the impression our people were going to take action. Or it may be they desire to provoke an outbreak. This place is an armed camp with the general and officers here. March the 21st. I've just addressed here all the commanding officers and given the best direction I could on questions of policy. We have many offers of men of high standing to come over. Our fund here is going ahead, and we are happy and calm.
Poppy is dead, and he lies in his grave, lies in his grave, lies in his grave. The poppy is dead, and he lies in his grave. He lies in his grave.
They seem to be making this one even bigger than them we've seen round the docks, Mr. Greer.
Aye, every Sandy Row egg has 2 yolks.
The kids seem to be enjoying themselves, aren't they?
Indeed, it's a damn pity they ever have to grow up. Their age now is just like Guy Fawkes' night.
You think we could have the same arrangement as last year and the year before that, Mr. Greer?
I don't know, Mr. Brannigan. I really don't know. Times have changed so much since last year.
But the people haven't changed, Andy.
Archie, the Tenants Association was in great control then. I mean, the Orange Order didn't count for so much. Not that it's all that big now, mind you. They have guns now. A bloody real arm.
Well, we'll be to go, Andy. Still got some people to see.
And Archie, I promise you we'll do all we can to keep tempers in check around here, but don't set your hopes high. Carson's volunteers are more glamorous than tenant associations.
A rope to hang the boat, and a pennyworth of cheese to choke him, and some lamb boiled to Washington, and a big hot fire to roast him!
Me stop it, Archie? God, you must be joking.
But somebody must try, brother.
Well, it won't be me, Archie. And for God's sake, don't call me brother when them fellas are around the place.
You must be joking, Archie. Them fellas have guns now. Why don't you look after number one?
They must try something.
And solid the thanks you'll get for it. Except maybe a bullet in the head. And the rest of them will turn around and say, well, wasn't he the right old fool?
Peaceful Roman Catholics can be assured, Archie, that the Protestant marchers will ignore Papist provocation.
I've told our people that they must not react to violence, Mr. Heron. They will accept insults without retaliation in the long tradition of persecuted Catholics.
I told you it was damn stupid trying to talk to them savages, Archie.
What's going to happen?
I'll march all over you, man.
When we came to Weird, it was not a glorious sight to see so many Irish men all willing for to fight. To march over the old remains of beautiful Sweden there. The tune we played with the Protestant boys right over Dolly's grave. And the tune we played with the Protestant boys right over Dolly's grave.
It was only a car backfiring.
The shot man that came from over there.
They're shooting on top of the fold. Yes, the Catholics are shooting down the Grosvenor Road part of the fold.
Catholics are murdering the Protestant people in their beds.
Only a car.
The Catholics have taken over motor cars and the guns.
Yes, the fire machine guns and motor cars.
The Catholics have stolen armoured cars and they're murdering all the Protestants in their beds.
The Attorney General says that my doctrines and the course I am taking lead to anarchy. Does he think I do not know that? Does he think that after coming to my time of life and passing through the various offices and responsibilities I have accepted, I did this like a baby without knowing the consequences?
Baby Christ, I tell you this, we gave them Jippo last night.
And the boys and the soldiers had to back down too.
Here, I'll tell you another thing. It's a long time since I felt fit enough to walk like I'm going to...
Hey, Size.
What?
You're the worst walker I've seen this many a year.
Oh, go on, Size. Go on, boy.
Is it me you're talking about?
Aye.
Let me tell you, my good man, I have got the best shuffle in Sandy Row.
Well, that way. It's a blind man's cane you need. Didn't you nearly walk into me twice last year? And you were supposed to be leading us.
Look, see here, Tom Curdy. Have you ever heard lies the like of them?
Well, now, there might be a grain of truth in what the lambag's saying.
I think you're taking a hand out of me, Tom. Didn't you say yourself I was the best walker in Sandy Row?
Ah, but that was the 12th last year. Many a horse has lost his fetlock in between races, Size.
Worshipful master. Why didn't you let Sash there show his paces round the bar and you can judge for yourself?
Well, now, that's not a bad idea. Now, would you be game for that, Size?
Wait a minute. All right, but listen, if I could have the band behind me, I mean, Christ, I'd feel daft walking in front of myself.
Oh, well, wait a minute. Now, we can maybe fix that, too. Lambag, will you let the Sice lead you round the bar there?
Oh, I will.
There, come on now.
Reach to that faith from behind the bar there, Mac.
What's the wee plate for, Tom? It makes the fife weigh a ton.
Ah, well, that was so that it would be handy whenever they were wanted. Well, Sir Edward Carson came on Covenant Day. Every bloody instrument was in the pawn, except the drums. It made every tune sound all to the one air like a fart.
Right. Now, let us know when you're ready, lad.
Keep the noise down a wee bit, you'll blow the bloody windows out, man.
All right, Sice Walker. You can walk any time you've a mind to.
Right you are, bum Billy.
fight for a glorious deliverance. Where on the green grassy slopes of the Boyne, on the green grassy slopes of the Boyne, till King William the brave and the high, when he won for a Protestant religion. Where on the green grassy slopes of the Boyne.
Here you bastards! Say that out of London! By Christ, they've broken my bloody stick.
The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, and the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you all, for Jesus Christ's sake. Amen.
Poor Uncle Tommy's in for a terrible shock.
When?
When he finds out there's no God.
Willie Henderson, you go too far.
I think there'd be more decency in a republic than in this humbug. In fact, I'd rather see a republic.
No surrender, our drums cry out like thunder. No surrender is our cry, no surrender till we die. We're the brave orange heroes of Comber.